still the radio station you love. 2BS 95.1 FM.
Welcome into the studio, the Heritage Manager, Steph Moore. Good afternoon.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Tell us, who is Artefact?
Who is Artefact? We're a multi-service heritage and environment consultancy. So what we do is provide heritage advice, heritage management, assessments to all sorts of clients. That can be government, private, a little bit of everything. We've been around for about 14 years, mostly Sydney-based, but last year we formally opened an office in the Hunter, and this year we've decided to come Central West.
So if somebody actually seconds the services of Artefact, what do you folk actually look at?
It's a little bit of a combination for us. So we do built heritage assessments. That might be if you have a beautiful heritage building you want to do some changes to. We can help you manage the legislative process for that. We also do archaeology. So if you've got something underneath the ground, you've got ruins on your property that you want to have a look at, we can do that as well.
Oh, how exciting. I've got to ask you, what was the most amazing thing that you've ever seen dug up out of the ground?
Lots of people ask me this question. I never know how to answer it. We were fortunate enough when I was with Artefact as a very young consultant. We worked on the CBD South East Light Rail in Sydney, and opening up the basements to buildings right on the back of Circular Quay was pretty special. Getting to see a former oyster bar that still had oyster shell in the basement from where they'd been shucking. Yeah,
that sounds amazing. That sounds fantastic.
Wonderful.
What got you into this sort of work?
I wanted to be an archaeologist from the time I was about 7, and I never really knew what that meant until I got much older. But I did my undergraduate degree in a regional town in Armidale, and looking at kind of, I think it's the puzzle solving. It's really, looking through the historical records, and then when you get to see the tangible remains on the ground, that's awesome, putting it all together.
Did you have a particular strength in history when you were going to school?
I loved history, absolutely. Spent all of my time reading as many history books as I could, trying to out-nerd all the other history nerds at school. But I think the benefit to me for archaeology is that it's one step further. It's not just the reading, it's really getting to put your hands on it and really connect with the people in the past.
Now, when it comes to First Nations people, tell us a bit more about your work specifically in that area with heritage and culture.
Yes, we work quite closely with Aboriginal community. Our work encompasses Aboriginal archaeology, but we also work with connecting with country frameworks, cultural values assessments, and we try to make sure that all of that work that we do is really led by First Nations people. So we're looking to make sure that they have ownership of their heritage, and that we're doing that in a way that it isn't us coming in and telling them what to do. It's really guiding them through the legislative process so that we get the best outcomes for them.
Okay. Why Bathurst?
Why Bathurst? It's such a beautiful, rich environment. As I say, we're multi-service, so between Aboriginal heritage, built heritage, I'm an industrial specialist, so for me, all of the the industrial past, the mining past of Bathurst is really interesting. So I think it was a really great opportunity to look at the interplay between those things and to really get our boots on the ground and work with community. As I say, it's really important to us.
So you're physically based here, but does that mean also that you'll look at work in Orange and Blaney and Oberon and beyond? It's not just for Bathurst.
Absolutely. We're definitely looking more outside Bathurst, Central West region. I think the benefit to us is that we really want to bring in staff from the region. So having an office here that we can base staff in means that we're not just a Sydney company coming in and throwing our weight around. We're actually really trying to get involved in the community, and that's broad.
Now, are you working on any projects at the moment that you could tell us a little bit about?
I don't have too much in Bathurst. We're doing a little bit of work in Lithgow at the moment. So we work quite a lot with Transport for New South Wales on the railways, and we have a really beautiful project upgrading some of the railway infrastructure through Lithgow. So that's a really nice little entry into the region for us. But we have worked on quite a lot in Central West previously. Okay.
And you were very smart. You came to town and you picked up one of our locals in Juanita Kwok.
Absolutely. We're so thrilled to have her on board. I've spent the last couple of days with Juanita working on onboarding her into the business. Look, she's an incredible resource, and already I'm seeing how well connected she is to community. We're walking down the street and she says hello to everybody. So I think that's a really valuable tool for us to get to know everybody and really, as I say, integrate into the community, not just be a presence.
And I will imagine also outside of just strictly Bathurst, areas like Hill End would be of particular interest to somebody like yourself and the Heritage Organisation. You've had time to get up there and have a look about?
I have. My partner and I were out there camping Probably May last year.
Oh, wow. That was
Beautiful.
pretty brave of you.
Yes.
It was a little bit cool out there.
It sure was.
I guess it's unusual to find a town or a village that has that much heritage intact.
It is, absolutely. To see something that's that well preserved. I mean, between Hill End and Sofala, Sofala's one of my favourites because it still feels quite live. I guess the comparison there being Hill End as the artefact, the relic of what's gone, and Sofala still being kind of the living heritage of what's left.
When you talk about work for government, what might some of that work look like? You mentioned the railway, but say, for instance, in Bathurst Regional Council or the Blue Mountains, what sort of work would you be undertaking?
Sometimes that might be for things like school developments, or it can be for some of the larger housing projects where it's a more state-led, some of the Housing Future Fund stuff that's happening at the moment, where it's occasionally council and state government working together on a broader, more community-based development. That might be the kind of thing that we dive in on.
Okay. A terrific warm welcome from the Bathurst community last Thursday. And I do have to say hi to Franco from Harvest. Apparently he is an ongoing listener. I walked up, he asked me if I wanted to have a drink. I said, thank you very much, but no. And he said, oh, you Janeen? I went, yeah. So, and it kind of went from there. So apparently he trips around the place. But really nice that you've got locals coming in for something like that as well. Wonderful to see the Aboriginal elders of the community there too.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have such a beautiful relationship with them, particularly through Stephen, who's our staff historian. And I'm really thrilled that we're able to procure locally when we come and do these things, that we're working with people like Franco, who I spoke with quite a lot on Thursday. And our photographer was a local, and we hope to keep doing that as we go, is keep procuring local.
He was very dedicated to getting his photographs.
Yes.
Every time I turned around, he was there with a camera lens.
Yes.
So well done. Welcome to Bathurst. We hope you're here for many, many, many years. You've physically moved up from the Blue Mountains. How are you finding the difference between the Blue Mountains and here so far?
Oh, look, it's really good. I'm sort of have been a Sydney-based gal the last few years, and Mountains Bathurst is something a bit new for me. But as I say, I went to a regional university, and I was born in a regional town. So coming back to this environment is something that I really love. It's quiet, but it's friendly, and it's beautiful. You walk around the corner, and there's always something nice to look at.
Yeah, and I guess you walk around with different eyes to what most people have as well, which must be kind of fun, but also very distracting.
Definitely. I spend a lot of my time in the city looking up, and you'd be surprised how many people look at you and then look up at what you're looking at.
I'm sure you could confuse a lot of folk. Thanks for coming in, Steph. As I say, welcome to Bathurst, and we hope that Artefact and the Bathurst community and wider region has a very long association with you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us, Janeen.
Thank you.